Happy New Year, everyone. I hope your new year is starting off strong and going well. I know it's been a minute since we all last talked, but I wanted to start off the year by talking about a franchise that was once beloved by everyone. But in the past year, maybe 2 years, people have broken up with this company and moved on to better things. I know you're asking,
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the big red themselves. Marvel. Remember the good old days when Marvel could do no wrong? Every time a Marvel movie was announced or about to come out, it was everybody's number one most anticipated movie of that year. When that Marvel movie came out that weekend, everybody would rave and talk about it for weeks. Usually because Marvel movies was once great. However, since we've been in the 2020s, Marvel has been in a slump.
Please explain.
Since Endgame, Marvel movies haven't had that magic that it used to have, where we get ecstatic and audience would love it from start to finish. There have been exceptions: Spider-Man: No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
He has good taste in movies.
And a few good Disney Plus shows here and there, and I mean a few. But the Marvel craze is not what it used to be. And when Marvel movies come out, people are just like, and you have a lot of people saying that Marvel fell off after Endgame and it will never come back to it once was. And while Marvel struggles and the future is unclear, however, as a wise alien once said,
There is hope, dear.
I believe that Marvel can make a great comeback because everyone loves a great comeback story. And they do these things, I'm sure Marvel will be on top. Now, I'm not saying that they have to listen to me because it's just my opinion. I'm just an ordinary fan. However, let's just see. But before we dive into this video essay, can you give a brother a like, subscribe, and leave a comment? Share your opinions on this video essay, what other things you want me to talk about for us future video essays. Your opinion matters. Let's see how Marvel can improve, shall we?
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Slow down on projects. When the MCU first started out, we would get like 1 or 2 movies a year. Now we have 3 movies, sometimes even 4. Back in 2021, we got 4 MCU movies along with 4 Disney Plus shows.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot.
And out those 4 movies, only one of them resonated with the audience, which was Spider-Man: No Way Home. Some may argue Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi was good, but No Way Home just hit different, and for obvious reasons. And now I just feel like Marvel just spitting out things just because they can and just focusing on quantity over quality. Now, just before I wrote this, it was announced that Marvel pushed back 3 of the movies to 2025, and only one MCU movie is coming out this year, which is Deadpool 3. I'm not counting Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, or Venom 3. Those are not MCU movies. Those are Marvel movies, but not MCU movies. So get it right. And this is a good thing and a blessing in disguise when you look at it from a certain perspective. I know there are some people saying they're finally listening to us. My response to that: slow down. The reason why those release schedules got pushed back is because of the writers and actor strike. However, it's a blessing. For a while, people have been saying we have too much Marvel. And while I love Marvel a lot, I do think we're getting too much of them where we're no longer excited. To credit the homies on the channel, both Malik and Zeke, Malik, Spider-Man 2099 suit is awful. It's awful. They said that the Marvel probably should do 2 movies and 1 Disney Plus show a year. I think that's a perfect amount. While we're doing this, we won't be overstuffed with content. It will give us time for us to be excited for movie and TV shows. And it's easier for our audience to catch up on the latest Marvel content. Because I tell you, waiting will have people more excited than when it's overstuffed. And those saying,
he's wrong!
Am I? Well, let me counter that point. And in fact, I have 2 points. Point 1. The Star Wars argument. We all know that Star Wars prequels aren't the best, and that trilogy ended with Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, back in 2005. We didn't have a Star Wars movie until 2015. When The Force Awakens was coming out, the world had lost its mind. There's a reason for that. By there not being Star Wars movies for a decade, people yearned for the next Star Wars project while the franchise sat dormant in the movie aspect. If Marvel takes this route, people will miss them, even those people who thought Marvel sucked and wanted the MCU to die. I promise you, those exact people will show up for the next Avengers movie. Now, Marvel doesn't have to wait 10 years to make a Marvel movie, but they should take about like a year, maybe 2, a break from movies, along with TV shows. It would have fans get excited again. And if you're still saying,
You're wrong.
all right, keep talking. Point 2, there were no Marvel movies in 2020. In 2019, we were blessed with Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. In the following year, we got hit by the pandemic and we had no new Marvel content. And the next Marvel project wouldn't be released until early 2021, and that was WandaVision. In that gap, people were starving for Marvel content. If Marvel repeated that again, people will miss them. As a great wise TD Jake said, have somebody miss you when you're gone. And I promise you, people will miss Marvel. Have a roadmap. Whenever we're trying to accomplish anything, it's best that we map it out. And in the early days, that's what Marvel did. For each of the MCU's phase, Marvel mapped out what characters we're going to be introduced to, what the end credit is going to be planted in, what storylines are going to be told, and who the villain of the movie was going to be. They had their things planned out. While Marvel has had a release schedule for their current phase, going to see these movies and TV shows, I'm just sitting there saying, I don't know what's going on. It's not that I don't understand the movies and TV shows. I'm just wondering where all these stories and characters are going to lead up to. When I say this, I think I could speak for all of us. Where does the Eternals play into all of this? Why is nobody talking about that big ass celestial in the middle of the ocean? Will we ever see Shang-Chi again? Who are the new Avengers? Will Kang be the big bad? Will there ever be a Howard the Duck Disney Plus TV show? These are the questions that need to be answered, people. But I do understand the storylines. I think the general audience doesn't know what the end goal is going to be. In the first 3 phases of the MCU, we knew who our Avengers were going to be. We knew that Thanos was coming, and there was an understanding of a cohesive story. In phase 4 and now phase 5, there's none of that. I believe the higher ups in Marvel, or the man himself, Kevin Feige, will go back to this old formula that worked before. If they go back to that formula, I think Marvel will be back on top. Have projects similar to Werewolf by Night. One of the things that surprised me in phase 4 of Marvel wasn't even a show or a movie, but one of their special presentations, Werewolf by Night. What made Werewolf by Night so special that it was a short that focused on an unknown character known as Jack Russell that wasn't connected to any of the movies or shows. And the main character wasn't even a superhero, but a monster hunter that turned into a werewolf, and a monster hunter that wasn't even trying to kill a monster, but to save one. Werewolf by Night was a standalone project that I wanted Marvel to do for a while due to the fact that it was so different. And the fact that it was in black and white, rated R, and gave us an unknown character that we rooted for, and a creepy monster we all cared for. If Marvel did more projects like this, whether it be a TV show, a movie, or even a special presentation, it would give them a variety in their library other than superheroes. However, not too long ago, I heard that Marvel was going to stop doing their special presentations, which makes me sad because this was the best thing that happened in Phase 4 and probably my favorite thing since the 2020s. And there's only been 2 special presentations, Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Moving on. Since Kang has been introduced into the MCU, I've had some.
I have mixed feelings, honestly.
The MC movies and the show Loki want us to feel that Kang is a scary character and has this horrific plan. But honestly, I don't feel that he's as scary as the MCU wants me to believe. I'm not saying that Jonathan Majors is a problem. In fact, he's the opposite. With this topic, it can be debated if this is hurting Marvel. However, I know it's not helping their image. Anybody who follows the movie industry closely knows that Jonathan Majors was found guilty of his situation.
Guilty, guilty, guilty!
Now, there have been some rumors that the actor Coleman Domingo is supposed to be replacing Majors in the role of Kang. I honestly think that's a great casting choice. He's a great actor and he has presence. And when you have a big, bad villain like Kang, whoever is playing him should have a great presence. I know a lot of people wanted to move away from Kang's storyline, but I was one of those people that thought Marvel should give it one more try. And putting him in an Avengers movie and not a film where he's getting curb stopped by ants
Pussy.
would be the better choice. But if anyone has seen the end of Loki season 2, the King storyline kind of wrapped up in a neat way. But if Marvel wanted to go in an alternate route where they wanted to stray away from the Jonathan Majors controversy and King altogether, they could go with Dr. Doom. And of course, everybody's main person for Dr. Doom is Cillian Murphy. And with all the Oppenheimer hype and everything, and Pedro Pascal being casted as Reed Richards, or at least I've read that he's been casted as Reed Richards, I feel that it would be only right to make Cillian Murphy as Dr. Doom because he's a great actor, and 2, just everybody will love it, and people will be on Marvel's side to increase their comeback. But that casting choice in Fantastic Four is a video essay for the next time. Slow down on the humor. I remember in the glory days of the MCU, right when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was coming out, one of the main complaints about the movie that it had too much humor in it. At the time, I didn't see the movie having too much humor in it, or any of the MCU movies. However, it wasn't until the first season of What If, in the zombie episode,
Zombies.
that humor was starting to get in the way of the storytelling. When this episode first premiered, I was excited. Our favorite heroes in the zombie apocalypse, man, that made my day. However, what kept it from being a great episode was the humor. While there was serious moments where you had characters getting killed, turning into zombies, trying to run for their life, you had jokes being thrown here and there, right where tensions were rising. And that's when I realized that the MCU has to tone down its humor. I'm not talking about making everything serious and brooding, or is it brooding? Yes, yeah, I think it's brooding. But sprinkle jokes here and there. For example, Loki season 2 had plenty of jokes, but they were here and there. And there was anyone saying like jokes every minute, every line wasn't a joke. And when the stakes and the story had you engaged, and it wasn't being distracted by Loki saying something like, I got it, I don't have it. I can't stand that joke. I've seen that joke in so many things, and yes, that joke was in a MCU movie. It was an Endgame where Spider-Man had the gauntlet, and he was getting attacked by Thanos' aliens and things like that. Yeah.
I got this. Oh, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Now I don't mind there being jokes in a Marvel movie. I love that there are jokes, but every line doesn't have to be a joke. Of course, a movie like Deadpool is going to have some jokes, but a character like Punisher better not be spitting out jokes. That's one character that shouldn't be played for laughs. And not to confuse y'all, but a lot of the times the jokes do land. However, they're just in the wrong place. And I know why there's so many jokes in the MCU. Well, I should say this is my theory. From the dark days of Marvel, aka the early 2000s, before we had the MCU, we had Ang Lee's Hulk, the Fantastic Four movies, Daredevil, and Elektra. Ooh, that movie is boring as hell, but damn, Jennifer Garner was fit in that movie. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Blade movies and The Punisher. These movies weren't critically acclaimed. Well, maybe the first Blade movie was. And the only Marvel movies that people really loved were the Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies. Well, the first two X-Men movies. Nonetheless, the one who was a producer for majority of those movies was Kevin Feige. If anyone doesn't know who Kevin Feige is, he is the man running things over there. So while producing for all those Marvel movies, I think Kevin Feige saw the issue with all of them. They're too serious.
Why so serious?
From Kevin Feige being the head of Marvel Studios and being the front runner of the MCU, he didn't want history to repeat itself and have the movies be more lighthearted and funny. So that's my theory of why the MCU is so filled with humor. Lower their budgets. In the year 2023, blockbuster movies were flopping hard, and one of those movies on that list was The Marvels. The Marvels cost $270 million to make.
Come on, you guys. I'm gonna buy us the most expensive movie we've ever had.
And it ended up making $197 million in its total run, making it one of the MCU's lowest grossing movies ever. Now I'm going to be honest with y'all. I didn't see this movie and I haven't seen it yet because life got in the way, so I can't say if it was good or not. However, I do know that movie studios need to lower their budget. I said this in my Spider-Verse and Barbenheimer video, but I'll say it again. That high budget movies aren't impressing anyone anymore. A movie studio can throw a $500 million on a movie, and I promise you that movie will only result in people saying,
Oh, that was awful.
or saying that the CGI wasn't even decent. In 2023, there were two movies that had low budgets but looked like $100 million plus movie. That is The Creator and Godzilla Minus One. The Creator cost $80 million to make and looks just as good as any Star Wars movie or any big blockbuster sci-fi epic. This one really shocked me. Godzilla Minus One. Y'all ready to hear this one? $15 million.
Stop lying!
I wish I was. Not only did Godzilla Minus One have a lower budget, but it was critically acclaimed. It had a lot of audiences saying that it was the best Godzilla movie ever made. And I'm just throwing this one for the sake of the argument so I can make a point here. And this one is a special movie right here. Five Nights at Freddy. Freddy and his boys had a budget of $20 million, and that movie had a gross $250 million worldwide.
Holy shit.
These three movies prove that you don't need to have a high budget in order to be successful. Now, movies are subjective, y'all. While these movies may not be beloved by everybody, I know for a fact two of them were successful at the box office. And Marvel...
Oh, me?
Yes, Marvel, I'm looking at you. Lower your budgets and watch you guys start making that profit again. But sometimes it's not always about the budgets. At the core, it's about making a great movie. And what makes a great movie? It's about making a great story, which leads me to a great topic. Go back to telling great stories. One of the reasons why I grew up a big Marvel fan was the fact that their stories grabbed me from the great characters, memorable villains, and deep narrative that will be told for a lifetime. Remember the first time we saw Iron Man? A story about a billionaire who was reformed and wanted to do right by getting his weapons back from the wrong hands? And if someone was to ask,
So, did you enjoy that?
well, it's simple, because it had a good story. We follow this character that's kind of irresponsible, self-centered, but as he becomes Iron Man, he changes to a better person. People, this is the way great stories are written, and I felt as lately Marvel has been losing that. People have said that the reason why Marvel and DC have been struggling with their properties is because people are having superhero fatigue. I'm going to say this to that.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I doubt it's superhero fatigue, not because I love superhero movies, but it's just the content we've been getting here lately has just been subpar. James Gunn, the director of the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the Suicide Squad, and the upcoming superhero movie, has this to say about superhero fatigue.
What's happened is people have gotten really lazy with their superhero stories. And they have gotten to the place where, oh, it's a superhero, let's make a movie about it. You know? and let's make a sequel because the first one did pretty well. And they aren't thinking about, why is this story special? What makes this story stand apart from other stories? What is the story at the heart of it all? Why is this character important? What makes this story different that it fills a need for people in theaters to go see, or on television?
And that's a hard thing, isn't it?
And I think that it's just that's kind of gotten, people have gotten a little lazy.
He's 100% right. It's these latest superhero movies that's been dull and big CGI fest where the story doesn't feel that there are any stakes. My biggest argument to say that superhero fatigue doesn't exist is that everyone was looking forward to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And it turns out not only that movie was the greatest animated movie of last year, but one of the best movies in 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, without spoilers, had audiences crying over a talking raccoon. Why? Because it had audiences care for a character that has stakes and emotion. Another comic book property that everyone loves, but smaller than Marvel and DC, is... This show is beloved for its strong writing and its plethora of strong cast and characters, and the stories like your typical superhero show. So it's not superhero fatigue, everybody. It's a bad film fatigue. I feel that Marvel's acting more as a money-making machine and just out here pumping our product just because.
That's how it's done.
Yes, I know that. At the end of the day, movies are a business. However, Marvel didn't start out that way. Well, I mean, it did start out that way, but MCU started out very slow. This goes to my point I made earlier about Marvel just overblown with projects. Here lately, Marvel just feels like they're making movies and shows just to please the fans without fleshing out the world of the characters. Last year, there were 5 MCU movie projects. Ant-Man 3 was alright. I felt that Kane was the wrong villain in that movie. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had melted my heart. I wish I could go back in time and watch that movie for the first time. Secret Invasion started out cool, but damn, it ended in such a stupid way. All I have to say about Secret Invasion is that we don't need the Avengers for the next movie. So when we finally get an army of Kang, just call Guy, y'all. Just call her. There is no superhero that can top her. Loki Season 2 had a lot of terms that went over my head, about these multiverses and time. But damn, did they stick the landing on that show? And the Marvels, I didn't even see that. But what made these things that were missing from these movies and TV shows was me caring about the characters and just seeing the flawed writing. I feel that if Marvel do more of these projects like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Loki Season 2, which is focused on characters and world building with structure, I feel that Marvel can get back to its glory days.